Jason Statham is doing the Jason Statham action thing, this time with human trafficking at the center. Let's talk about A Working Man. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my movie review for A Working Man, starring Jason Statham and co-written by his Expendables buddy, Sylvester Stallone. Of course, he's got an extensive history with screenwriting dating back to the Rocky days. But this is available now for purchase at home on demand. You can either rent it or buy it. It is not available on a streamer as such yet, but I'm sure that will be coming pretty soon. But for now, you can purchase it at home if you've missed it in theaters. We'll get to the specifics here of this movie in just a moment. First, though, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. If you are a subscriber already, thank you so much for that. Love it when you guys return and check out my content. But if you're not, please consider subscribing and click the notification bell, or you can just like this video, comment below, share on your socials. That stuff, of course, helps the channel out tremendously. All right, so look, this one I think is going to be one of my shorter reviews because there's not a ton to say, primarily because I've already basically reviewed this movie when I reviewed The Beekeeper. I mean, this is essentially the same movie, just instead of, so The Beekeeper was about extortion of older people, senior citizens, and their money, and sort of the online scammers and the phone scammers and all of that stuff. This shifts gears from that and is about human trafficking. But you know, if this was The Beekeeper 2 and the premise was human trafficking, I think it would be the same movie. You know, it's kind of like when Liam Neeson, he started doing those Taken movies, and yes, there were a few actual Taken movies, but then he diverted off into like 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 different other movies with similar premises, and he was playing essentially the same character, even though it wasn't Brian Mills. It was just kind of Brian Mills, right? And so that was sort of the joke for a long time with Liam Neeson. Statham is in this situation now. You know, The Meg was a little different, but like this is essentially the same movie as The Beekeeper, so much so that it's even got the same director, David Ayer, who worked on The Beekeeper and a few other things, and he's worked with Sylvester Stallone before, I believe, as well. He was in the first he was part of the original Suicide Squad movie, which Sly Stallone was not in. He was in the second one, but that is much maligned, that Suicide Squad. I like it more than most, but it certainly has problems. But essentially, this is based on a book, actually, called Levon's Trade by Chuck Dixon. And so Statham plays Levon Cade, who is an ex-Royal Marine commando, and now he is working construction in Chicago. He's got a close friendship with the Garcia family, Joe, played by Michael Pena, and then his wife and their daughter, Jenny. And Jenny gets abducted after a night out with her friends. She is played by Ariana Rivas. And so at first, Statham doesn't want to help, but the cops aren't doing anything. So he's like, oh, I got to take this upon myself because I am not the beekeeper, but close enough. I'm the construction worker. And so he gets his friend David Harbour, his ex-Marine buddy, to help him out in finding and tracking down these people who abducted Jenny. And obviously, we can assume other people have been abducted. We find that out as we go along. And so it goes from there. But the beats are all the same as The Beekeeper. The dialogue is atrocious. Sylvester Stallone, look, he's had some success in the writing department. Certainly, writing Rocky was, you know, huge. And he's written and co-written things along the way. But look, recently he co-wrote the Expendables films, the first 3 anyway. I think maybe he wrote the first one by himself. And they're all, you know, like these corny action lines. And that's sort of their purpose. I mean, they're not good movies, but if you want a really dumb action movie, you know, that's The Expendables is where you want to go. Because it brings all your favorite action heroes from the last, you know, 30 years together. Well, him and Statham have certainly struck up a friendship. And I think after watching Expendables 4, which is probably the worst one of the bunch, it's pretty obvious that he wants Jason Statham to sort of take that ball and run with it and do Expendables 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. But his writing for these action movies, like Rocky isn't an action movie. It's a sports, you know, hero movie, whatever. And it was also 40 plus years ago that it was written. You know, he's so entrenched in this dumb action movie mentality now. Sly Stallone is. Well, Statham is too, but, you know, Stallone co-wrote the last Rambo movie, or at least he had a story credit on it. I think he's lost uh, the ability to write coherent sentences and thoughts, for these characters. But I think there is something to be said for, well, give the audience what they want. If they want a, stupid action movie, okay, we presented them with that. But I actually kind of liked The Beekeeper. It was a typical Statham dumb action movie, but I liked the character and I liked, the action sequences and stuff. This just feels like a limp redone version of that. And there is a Beekeeper 2 coming out too. I think that's next year. They're in the writing or filming process of that now. So it's like we're already going to get Beekeeper 2. This is the same movie just with a different impetus. Instead of going after the senior fraud, he's going after human trafficking. I can get behind the sentiment, but I already watched this movie just with a different premise, but he's the exact same character, even if they've changed his name and his occupation and all of that. So I leave A Working Man with a D. The only reason it's not an F is because, well, if you are in the market for a dumb action movie, this will hit that spot until Beekeeper 2 comes out, I guess. But it offers nothing more than that. All right, thank you for watching Dan Reviews It. I will see you next time. Bye.